Good afternoon, and welcome to my channel here on YouTube. I am Keisha. This is Loving Guiding Light, and I usually bring you all messages from spirit guides, ancestors, God, universe, all those lovely spirits that we have access to through the use of divination tools, tarot, charms, etc. But today, I just wanted to come on here to speak with you all because I kind of came over and came on Saturday, I believe, or Sunday. Was it Sunday? Sunday I came on and kind of was just airing out some of the things in which I have been dealing with, challenges with my son, who just recently turned 18 and has been struggling with an addiction to marijuana. And has been doing some very deplorable things, in my opinion, in order to get the marijuana. So I came on here and was just sharing with you all that my son has been dealing with addiction with marijuana and that he had been stealing from me, my home, and then selling my items in order to be able to go out and purchase his drug of choice, which is marijuana. A lot of people think that you can't be addicted to marijuana and all these different things. And I beg to differ. I have been around addicts my entire life because I come from a family that has had several, addictions, and it's an addictive behavior. I believe that it can be hereditary. It can be, passed down through the bloodline. I just can't say that it's something that one just wants or chooses to do. I believe that if that is part of what your family line has in it, then you run risks of becoming an addict as well. And it doesn't matter what the drug of choice is, okay? Alcohol, crack, cocaine, heroin, marijuana. They're all drugs, and they all have the ability. They all have the, I guess, they all have the right up for one to become addicted to, because it is a drug, okay? So I don't want to hear people tell me that marijuana is not addictive, because that is not true. I am dealing with an addict as we speak, and I know the behaviors of addicts because I've been around them my entire life, which is one of the reasons I have never been fond of using drugs or even experimenting with them, because I've seen the havoc and the way that it can tear a person's life down. So I just have never had an interest in drugs. Now, I do drink sociably, and that is sociably, very occasional. I don't really even particularly care for alcohol because I don't like the after effects of it, or having headaches, or having a hangover the following day. So yeah, I try to just stay away from those things, the alcohol as well. Occasionally I might have a margarita or something like that if I'm at a Mexican restaurant, but I don't really drink heavily anymore. In my younger years, before I knew better, I used to drink, and I used to, get pretty out of control, which is, I guess, why they call it spirits, because the spirit take over, huh? I guess, and you just get loose and you do all these things. So yeah, I drink sociably and I drink responsibly. I may have an occasional margarita, an occasional Bloody Mary or something like that, but nothing just to drink in excess or just any of that anymore. But yes, my son has been stealing from me. It was very disheartening. I had to file a police report, and all these different things. And this has been the hardest part for me, was really following through with the process of what I was doing in order to try to help my son to get back on track. No, I did not file charges against him or press charges against him. However, I did um, give him the option and pretty much the ultimatum that he would need to go into a hospital or rehabilitation because this has been going on, ongoing issue with him, not stealing, but just the things that he's been doing since he's been using marijuana, the behaviors and the sporadic, all over the place stuff that he's got going on, being under that influence. So I gave him an ultimatum that he would get help, go into a rehab, or um, jail. I mean, I really could press charges because the amount of things that were stolen out of my home were, um, you know, totaled up to quite a bit of money, Um, so it could be considered grand theft, which is a felony. And I really don't want to put my son on that trajectory of having a felony at 18 because it's so hard to get those things expunged. And then you have to follow a process in order to be able to get that done. And I really didn't want to do that. And he really, thought I wasn't going to do anything. He was going to just be like, I'm sorry, and it would be okay. And I would forgive him and it would be over with. Well, I have forgiven a lot of things with my son. He had gone into my account, my checking account, and had taken money out of the account, and it was a big old thing, and I had it cleared up with the bank and whatnot. And after that, he continued to apologize. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I would never do it again. But yet, turned around and began stealing my material things out of my home, things that I worked hard for to purchase, and started selling them, pawning them, and taking them to the Eco ATM, which is inside of the Walmart, the electronic goods and so forth. So obviously you could not have been genuinely sorry if you turned around and stole from me again after I had forgiven you from taking money from me. I had forgiven that, and you turned around and did it again. So your sincerity was not there. The apology was not sincere when you stole the money, because you would have never turned around and stole out of the house or whatnot, or bit the hand that feeds you. I feed you, I provide for you, I take care of you, all these things, and then you turn around and you do it again. So this time I just, of course I'm upset, disappointed, whatnot. And I harbor no ill will towards my son because I know he has a problem. But nonetheless, it doesn't sting any less to have your child steal from you, And those were the options. You were either going to go to rehab or you were going to go to jail, one of the two. Of course, he wanted to do neither. In the end, I did take him to the hospital because of his threats and to harm himself and whatnot. He does that a lot. I think he does it to manipulate me and to get empathy from me in order to make me feel guilty and bad, in order to stop me from doing or following through with what punishment I would bestow upon him. But this time it just did not work. I wasn't going to allow that manipulation to deter me from following through with what I said I was going to do. So I did take him to the hospital, and I informed them of the threats he continued to make about harming himself and ending his life and all these things. And they did decide to keep him. He has been there now since Monday, and he has called every day since he's been there, crying. I mean, literally crying tears and boo-hooing about the circumstances he is in and how he's unable to go to the bathroom and he's not allowed to do anything and this, that, and the other because they have him in a part of the hospital where they are going to evaluate him to see exactly where he is at, if he is mentally unstable or whatever. So they are evaluating him, and in those types of facilities they don't allow you to go to the bathroom by yourself, and they make sure that there's nothing in the room in which you could actually harm yourself. So it's not really a particularly pleasant place to be, I'm sure, and my heart breaks. It really does, because I really, really struggled with this decision and following through with it, because I love my son and I don't want to hurt him. But I did feel like if I didn't do something this time around, if he did not face some consequences for the actions he has done, that he would spiral and continue down this path and down this road that he's not prepared for. And he perhaps could decide to do something and steal something from someone else. And it could be, and could cost him his life, or he could end up in the penitentiary. That's the farthest thing I want for my son. I really want my son to get his life back on track and to, be a model citizen and be, offer something and contribute to the world in a good way and not take away. We have enough negative bullcrap going on around us as it is, and we don't need any more of these young children, who are experimenting and utilizing these drugs and then behaving in such disgusting manners. I can speak on and on and on. I live in Georgia, and it's so many children. There's other mothers that I've spoken to that are dealing with some of the same things, who their children have begun to use marijuana, and the behaviors are just unbelievable. Sometimes, I mean, literally, the behaviors have been so terrible that I thought he was perhaps on something more, maybe on crack, or they were lacing the weed with something, or I don't know. I mean, some of these behaviors are so off the wall. I just thought he had to be on something else. I really did. So I had the doctor test him, do blood work on him and everything. And no, there was nothing else in his blood besides the marijuana and then the high contents of the nicotine that is in the wraps that they roll the marijuana in. It's called a Swisher wrap, honey Swisher wrap, whatever. Well, the cutoff for nicotine in the average person is 250 milliliters. That should be in the average person's bloodstream. My son's was 3,525 milliliters of that nicotine in his bloodstream. And nicotine is a stimulant, okay? A stimulant. So if you already are dealing with a child that is, all over the place, hyperactive, whatnot, and you're taking these stimulants in through the use of this wrap, or whatever, nicotine, that's adding to that, making them highly agitated, highly nervous, and all these different things. The anxiety is very high, and they're all over the place. They can't sit still, they can't sleep, they have insomnia, all this crazy crap that a stimulant does. It's almost equivalent to like a person drinking 100 cups of coffee in 1 hour. That's how much nicotine is in his system. It is 30 times the amount that the average person should ever have in their bloodstream. The THC in his bloodstream was 875, and the cutoff for THC in the bloodstream of the average person should be 15. So those combinations together is really playing against him, because he's already has hyperthyroidism, Graves' disease, which we just got the diagnosis for. And so you're adding all these stimulants to this hyperthyroidism. Hyperthyroidism is overactive um, hormones. So your thyroid is overactive, which means your food is metabolizing quicker. Your heart rate is already racing because your metabolism is sped up and all of these different things. So your heart rate is racing and all these different things. And to add a stimulant on top of that, I really fear that he could have caused himself to have a massive heart attack. I mean, that is a lot of nicotine. That's a lot of THC. I am not a doctor, but honey, I am not stupid. The average person that knows anything about stimulation of anything, the use of nicotine or anything like that, that's a stimulant, that's race, speeding you up, knows that is dangerous. So they did keep him. He is hospitalized. He's been crying, and calling and saying that he can't do anything, can't go anywhere. Can I please come get him? Which I have no power to do so because he is being kept under, I believe they call it a 1013, so they can evaluate him and monitor him and keep him in safe from harming himself. So this has been really hard. I wanted to go back to the hospital or whatnot and just be there with him until they transport him into another facility, which is more of a psychiatric hospital. But I feel like if me going there and him seeing me is really just going to trigger him even more and really make him very upset. And of course it's going to upset me because I already struggled with the decision of taking and following through with this decision. But I felt like if I hadn't done so, eventually he would have spiraled, and I don't know what he would have done. If it could have been, like I said, he would have stolen from someone else and it would have cost him his life, or if he would have, ended up in a penitentiary, which is two things I'm not wanting for my child. So I decided to follow through and have him hospitalized. How this is going to work out, I don't know, but I believe in a higher power. I believe in God. I trust in him. He has the last say, and I pray for my son on a daily basis, and I believe that this is going to be the thing that will help him to get back on track. Sitting in a room looking at four walls and not having your freedom to do as you have always done in your life has a way of jarring your ass awake. Trust me, it does. So I'm really hopeful that this will help him get back on track. Will he perhaps be upset with me or whatnot? That is something I'm willing to take, because there is nothing that I wouldn't do for my child. I would go to the end of the earth for both my children, my daughter Chanel as well as my son. And this was something I had to do. I had to stick to my guns in order to save him from himself. So, anywho, I kind of wanted to just share that with you all because I wanted to be transparent. A lot of people think that just because you're on a spiritual awakening journey and you have a close relationship with the Creator or whatnot, that you don't, it's just all hunky-dory. Actually, no. That's when the devil is coming for you even harder. He utilizes your family, people that are close to you, associates, different things to come for you, and you just have to stand strong in your faith and believe that, no matter what you try to throw at me, no matter who you try to use to get at me, I still stand for the Creator. I still trust solely in him and his plan for my life, that his will be done. And even through this situation with my son, this challenge that I'm facing right now with my son and him having an addiction, I've been around, like I said, addicts my entire life. I've been, the person that has taken care of my sisters and siblings, and uncles and so forth that had struggled with, dependency on drugs or whatever since I was 14. So I'm familiar with this walk. I'm a warrior. I am always going to put on my shields, put on my armor, to stand on the front of this war that I have been in for some time. And I will not lose hope or faith, no matter what he throws at me or how he comes for me or who he comes for me through. I just will not throw in the towel. I am no quitter. I will be here and I will be the um, pillar for my son when he comes out of this situation, and I will encourage him like I always have in the best way that I know how. And that's by being consistent and present in his life, um, and encouraging him to take the path that is the best and the most righteous, to be a contributor to this world in a positive manner. That's my plan. So I'm asking you all to still keep me in your prayers. I had confirmation shortly after I had taken my son to the hospital. It was Monday, and then Tuesday I had an interview lined up for this job that I had been applied for, and I really wanted to, do well for it. So I didn't stay at the hospital all night after they were able to get him in a room and whatnot. I probably left about 2 o'clock in the morning. And my appointment for my interview was for 11:30 in the morning. So I didn't get very much rest, of course, because I was thinking about my son. So, that was challenging. But I got up still, and I put forth my best effort for the interview. And I left the house shortly after I had the interview because I was contemplating going back to the hospital, like I said, just to be there out in the halls because I really couldn't see him. He's in an area where they won't allow any visitors. I really can't see him or anything like that, but I was just going to go and be there wherever. But there's a window where he would be able to see me or whatnot, and I know that that may have been very hurtful. So I decided not to go to the hospital, and I turned around and I doubled back and was on my way back home. And when I did that, I noticed that on the power lines where I was driving, there was about 13 black birds on the power line and one white dove. Yes, a dove. I have had doves show up in my life on numerous occasions, and they are on my page, and you are more than welcome to go check out the videos of me recording them. This white dove was the standing out, of course, because it was white, and I did a double back and turned around so I could go get some pictures. And I've also posted that under the community page here. I couldn't video record it because I was on the phone with my aunt at the time. I was pretty emotional because I decided not to go to the hospital, and so I was talking to my aunt, and she was just kind of giving me some comforting during that time. She was comforting me during that time, and I just turned around once I seen it and started taking pictures, like I said, because I was already on the phone with my aunt and I couldn't video record it. But I did post it on the community page, and that was my confirmation, letting me know that I had made the right decision. The right decision, that I will have peace even in the midst of this storm that I am in with my son, and that God is with me. He is protecting me, and that he has my son covered as well. So I'm just asking all you on here to continue to pray for me and my son, and pray for the best outcome for him. I believe in a higher God. I believe that when two or more stand together in agreement, that these prayers are heard and they are answered. I'm trusting and believing in favor for my son, and for healing, complete restoration for him, for the healing of his mind, body, and soul. So keep your girl in prayer. Keep my son in prayer. And until next time, right now I'm not going to do a reading. Um, I just wanted to come on here and share this with you all. But until next time, smooches, toodles.